All right, well, Tia, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. And you are writing a lot. Um, you haven't, well, I guess 10 years is a long time, but you said you started writing in 2014. Now, was that your first year of having a published book?
Yes, it was. I started off writing young adult and I published my first book in 2014.
Okay. And you do a lot of series,
I do, yes.
from what I could see. And you have one called Beast. Is that the latest one? Is it
Yes, Beast Part 2 is the latest. It's the last of the church series.
okay? So tell us a little bit about this, the kind of writing you like to do for the audience who doesn't know you yet. Um, Tell us what motivated you to when you first got started, and then what kind of books do you like to produce?
Um, as far as my writing style, I write romance. And I write basically anything that comes. I don't really stick to a certain genre because I write romance in contemporary, sci-fi, paranormal, fantasy. I've written in all those genres. And I basically write IR, usually black woman falling in love with someone. Like I said, I write. My style is I really can't explain my style. I just usually write what comes to me, what I'm feeling that at that time. Um, what motivated me to start writing? I've always been a storyteller. My mom used to say, you know how when little kids used to tell stories back in the days, I was that kid that always went above and beyond with my stories. Like I couldn't just have snuck a cookie out the cookie jar. Well, it was elves and it was something else involved. So I've always been one to tell stories, and I've always been told that I was really good at telling stories. And I 2000, I had my first child like 2003, and I was a stay-at-home mom for so long, and wanted to do something else. And my husband was like, "Won't you write a story? You always telling me stories or dreams that you've had. Won't you write a story?" And that is how I sat down one day. I was like, "Okay, I'll write a story," and that's how it all started for me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so those of you who are stay-at-home moms, that's something that you can do while you're in between all the other things you have to do if you have children, small children growing, is if you can find the time in between.
It's
that
definitely about finding the time in between.
but now you folk all of your stories IR, which is interracial romance, all of your
As
stories.
of right now, all of them they are IR. I will be eventually fading into, like I said, I just want to write about black women being loved, and eventually it will be with any and all everyone. But right now, all my stories are IR.
Okay, and that seems to be a growing genre.
It is. It was once a very small
Yeah,
genre,
yeah.
but it's growing. It's. I mean, it's spreading out now.
Because I see a lot of covers
Mm,
that tell you that
yeah.
that's what it is. So it's and you write black women with a love interest that
Yeah.
is not black.
Yes. As of right now, yes.
Okay, so now what led you in that direction? Was it any particular
Um,
thing or
No, initially it's just what I started reading. I was reading that, and the first story I told was, like I said, it was young adult, and it was really right after the whole all the other young adult stories like Twilight and all of those, and I just happened to put my lead girl was a black girl, and she had a love interest. She had, her love interest is quite a few different characters, but I realized that more people read it. Um, when they read more of it when it was my little black girl and the little white boy for some reason, and I thought it was peculiar. And so when I wrote my second book, I was like, okay, well, I'll do it again. And but that was what I was reading at the time. Nowadays I just kind of write whatever the story kind of tells me to write. I don't really stick to a certain way, but initially it just started off because that is what when I wrote my first book, I noticed that was what everyone was enjoying, that or like that's what people were wanting at the time.
hmm. Well, there definitely must be a market for it because if it wasn't, people wouldn't keep writing
That's
it. I
true.
keep seeing And most of the books that I see along those lines, a lot of them are series.
Yes, yeah. Series.
More than
Well,
one.
series are always a really good. It really helps tell a story, and people love series because they love to build up they love to build up on a story, which is why I like to do series. It's hard work to do them, but I like them.
Yeah, you have to do the next part without retelling the whole thing. You have to
Yes,
tell just enough to make it move. And I'm a writer too, so that's why
so you understand.
yeah. You want to put just enough to bring the reader up to speed, but also to make it a standalone,
Yes, yes,
so that a
yes.
person can pick it up and then maybe want to go back and read the previous books. So I'm reading a comment from the previous guest because my co-host is not on yet. She had to come in late, and she normally checks the comments. And so I was scrolling up so I could get to right now, and I saw a comment about something that we said in the other. I had mentioned that I do meatless greens, and one of the viewers said she has to have meat in her greens. So that's what made me kind of laugh. It's actually it works if you know about the seasonings. If you season it right, it works. But
That's
anyway,
true. That is
it's
true.
all about the season. So now you did you say you had your own publishing company too?
I do. Young and Publishing. I have my own publishing company.
Okay, so you just publish your work or do you have
Yeah,
other
right now it's just my own work. I really just want to have my own publishing company for my stuff, for my writing,
okay.
to make it to make my own have my own company and everything. I really haven't thought about publishing other authors or anything. It's a lot of work that goes into publishing because I am a self-published author. There's a lot of work that goes into publishing, and I'm not quite there yet when I want to open up and do it for other authors.
Hmm.
One day, maybe one day.
I hear you. Yeah, because that's right. That's on a whole nother level.
Yes,
That and you really had to do that full time. Now are you writing full time?
I do. I write full time. All
Okay.
right, full time. And
So
you're
how
right. Doing that, publishing others is basically a full time job. It's hard to get your own writing in if you're
right,
publishing others.
right. It would be hard to do. So how many total books do you have?
I have 16 total books as of right now.
And what made you, like a lot of people are hesitant or skittish about self-publishing. Although nowadays a lot of people are doing it, and also some people are doing hybrids where they do some work with a bigger
Hmm.
publisher and then they self-publish too. But what made you decide to stay as a self-published author? Or and have you ever tried to send your work to a publisher?
I when I first started, I did send I mean like 2014, 13ish. I started trying to send my work off to be traditionally published. And after you get about so many rejection letters, I was just like, oh, I got a little discouraged, and I thought, and then I found out that you could do it on your own, and so I started doing it on my own. And I went through the learning curve of publishing on your own because there's, at
Yeah.
the time I was doing it wasn't really a guideline, like a guidebook for it. So I learned, I hit a lot of bumps and curves, and I learned a few things. And then I started doing publishing my own for a while. And then I was with a publishing company for a while, and I learned a lot with that publishing company. But we had our book deal, we finished that deal, and they released me after our book deal was done. After I gave them a certain amount of books, and I just like, I think I can do this on my own now. So I enjoy self-publishing now that I know what I'm doing because it just gives you more freedom. I think some of the pressure comes off of you when you're publishing with a publishing company because at that point all you're doing is writing. All you got to worry about doing is writing and getting your book in a deadline. But it was pressure for me because I am also, though I write full time, I am still a mother of three kids, and so trying to meet deadlines when you never know when a child is sick or something happens. And so it's easier for me to do it myself because I can move my things around my schedule and set my own dates and so, but that's I think that's why I like self-publishing so much because it's more freedom for me to write and do it my own way.
Right. That's true. That's a good um, way of explaining it. I because I'm still all of my books are self-published too. I have 15. So they're all well, there a lot of them are different. I write in multiple genres. So
Oh, you do?
mhm. But it does give you the freedom to,
Hmm.
if you want to, right? If you want to release 3 books in a year, you can.
Yep.
Or if you want to skip a year, you can. It's just there's no pressure. The pressure comes from you, your
Hmm.
personal pressure of wanting to get it done. But even if you set a timeline or a date, you can always change it.
Absolutely.
You can move
Absolutely.
it forward. You can move it forward if you get finished faster, or if you need a couple more months, you can, I mean,
Move it
you can
back.
go
Yep.
backwards or forwards, whichever way you look at it. You can make it sooner or later, depending
Absolutely.
on, what your schedule is. And sometimes you can do it quicker. You do it more quickly than you thought you could. And then sometimes it takes longer. So,
Yes.
mm. I like that. So, now how old are your children?
I have my daughter turned 21 today. My oldest daughter turned 21 today. I have a 19-year-old and then I have a 13-year-old.
Oh, okay. You got teens.
Oh, yes. Yes. Two college students and one middle schooler.
Okay. Well, God bless you. Because I know that it might seem like they're more work in some ways when they get older,
Oh,
but
yes.
because they have minds, of their own, and they think they know things. When they're younger, you can tell, you have more control. You can tell them,
Yes.
and they really like hang on your every word, like what you say, they really believe it. They don't start questioning things until they get maybe over 12, and then
Ooh,
that's when they start asking questions. So it's work either way, but raising another human being and helping them grow and develop into adults it's a really just an amazing assignment that we're given.
I
And
agree.
we just do our best, and that's all we can do. That's
That's
all
all we can do is,
we can
yes, do our
do.
best.
So now tell us about, do you have a copy of your book, like the Beast? You have a copy of them?
I do
Or
have a
you
copy.
can show us the covers.
I wish I would have had it out so I didn't have to, but I do have a copy of it. Sorry. I do have a copy of it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I like that.
This
So
is
now
Beast Part 2.
what is it depicting exactly? I can't tell what
No,
that is.
it's just a guy in the cloaked.
Oh, okay. Okay. What's that above the word beast? What is that? Is it somebody's chest?
Yes.
Is that his chest? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now who you have a cover designer that does your
I
covers?
I do. My cover designer for the church series was Hayla Rice. She does most of my covers. I love working with Hayla. I worked with quite a few cover designers. I think she's in Australia, I want to say. Don't quote
Okay.
me. But so it's working with her. I love working with her, but it's always like a time delay because when she's up, I'm asleep. And so we usually have to, I'll send her a message and she'll see it and I'll wake up to her reply. So but she did the entire church series and a few more of my covers as well.
Oh, okay. All right. Now, what is Beast about?
So Beast, the church series, this is part of this is the last book of the church series. It
Okay.
is basically John Wick with romance. It's a book about a group of assassins that fall in love with with women. It's action packed. It's romance. It's lots of twists and turns to the stories. And like I said, the Beast Part 2 is the ending of this the story. It is a series. They can technically be read as standalones, but the reading pleasure you'll get is reading them in order, because each book kind of plays on the other one. But in each book, the hero and the heroine gets their own happily ever after, and then the next book is another hero and heroine, and they get their happily ever after. But the stories do kind of tie together.
Okay, so is Beast a two-part?
Beast is two-part.
Two-part. So when you said the church series,
Yes. So the
what is
first book
that?
in the church series is Hawk. This is the first book in the church
Okay.
series.
Okay. All right.
That's the very first book, and it's 5 books total in the series.
Oh, okay. So Hawk is number one.
Hawk is number one.
And
And then there's Twins, and
twins.
then there's Priest, and then there's Beast 1 and Beast 2.
Oh, wow. Do you have the other ones?
I
Oh,
do. I have the other
you
ones.
raised my kid. You piqued my curiosity. Um,
No problem. I wish I would have thought about it. I would have had them all ready to go for you. So we have Hawk is the first one.
okay. All right.
Twins is the second.
Okay.
Priest is the third.
Okay. Now, Hawk and Priest aren't the same people. Are any of
No.
these people related? Are they related?
Um, they're part of a brotherhood, not related, but part of
Okay. I
brotherhood.
don't brotherhood. Okay. All right. The next one.
Twins are brothers. The twins are brothers.
Okay. All right.
And then you have Beast 1
Okay.
and Beast
And
2.
B two. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Well, that sounds interesting. I like the covers.
Thank you. I had those redone. They were different covers for before, and then I had them redone to these covers.
Okay, so in the church series, starting with Hawk and ending with Beast 2, what's the theme, the thread that ties them all together?
So it starts with you meet them. Hawk has resigned from the church. He was an assassin, and usually, once you join the church, you are recruited in the church when you are very young, almost 8 years old. And they recruit you because they see a special talent in you. And you grow up in this church being an assassin, and you usually cannot leave. But Hawk was able to leave because someone, a friend of his, took his position. And so Hawk book starts where he has left the church, he's been away, but the person that took his spot has been found dead, and they are accusing Hawk of doing it. So Hawk, with the help of the persons that took his spot, sister, has to clear their name, clear his name. And so they go on this, I think it's like a week or two, maybe a week, of trying to clear his name so that the church won't come after him.
Okay, now the church, this is not like the Christian church.
No, this
This
is
is
a
like John Wick, like you
this
said.
is
Now,
John Wick.
I've seen 1, 2, and 3 of John Wick.
Yes.
I haven't seen 4 yet, although it's been out for a little bit, but I haven't seen it. It's a lot of killing, but it's a lot of action, and Keanu Reeves really does play that
Yes.
role.
Yes, he does incredible.
He's
So
really an incredible job with that. And so it sounds interesting. Now, what you have to have an active imagination to put all that together in 5 books.
I did. It started out the first idea, the first book was the last book. Beast book is with the idea I got first. And when I was trying to write the story, it wouldn't come to me. And so finally I realized I don't think his book is first. And that's when I realized he has a brotherhood. And so all the guys, you have Hawk, twins, all of them are brothers. And Priest is kind of like their father figure. He's the one that trained them, and he's they're basically their father figure, but they're brothers. Basically they grew up together, and so it's just that brotherhood going through trials. You realize that books tie together because people are trying to, I guess you're going to say, break the brotherhood up. And so each book is part of them finding out who's trying to come between them and in their brotherhood, until you get to Beast's book and it all answers everything.
Oh boy. Okay. So now you said these are romances. So where's the romance coming
They are romances. So, like I said, Hawk has to clear his name, and he's doing it with the person that died, the person they accused him of killing. He's with her sister trying to clear his name. And so his love interest is her sister. And the
from?
sister, it's without giving away too much, the sister is
Yeah.
gets tied up in all of this as well, and they have to kind of like, and she's a middle school teacher, so all this is completely new to her. All of this is new to her. She had no idea any of this was going on. She didn't have any idea that her sister was part of this. And
Oh,
so when she gets caught up in this whirlwind, she is just like trying to survive.
oh boy. Well,
Yeah.
that sounds really
But
interesting.
they all have their own, like, you meet their girls, you figure out how they tie to their girls. Each one falls for, have their own girl, and and all ends with a happily ever after.
Okay. Well, that sounds interesting. Now you write some fantasy.
I
Is it
do.
like a fantasy paranormal romance? Like
So
uh
my fantasy you said, is this like a fantasy paranormal?
mhm.
No,
Yeah.
this is 100% contemporary. The church
Okay.
series is fully
Okay.
contemporary.
Okay.
There's no fantasy element to it.
Okay.
Although at some point you start to think maybe it is, just because of how incredible these guys are, and their gifts and talents. But it's all contemporary.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. So when you started writing, did you know you were going to be where you are now in terms of, and the question I'm asking, when you wrote your first book, could you envision where you are now in terms of this 5-part series?
No, not at all. I when I wrote my first book, I really didn't think anyone was going to read it. Like, I truly thought it was just going to be something that I did and I would give to family. And like I said, and my family was like, no, you should at least attempt to publish it. And I did. And even when I first published, I mean, oh my gosh, I think maybe five people read that book. Seriously, I think maybe five people read that book. And but I just kept, because I love writing, and it didn't matter to me that only five people had read it. So I just kept writing, and I wrote the second one. And then after the second young adult book, I went into basically adult romance with my first fantasy series. And that's really what kind of grabbed people over to Tia Rayne, because I was that was my first Tia Rayne book. I wrote young adult under another pen name. So Tia Rayne was my first. Uh, that first fantasy book was my first time using Tia Rayne pen name.
Okay, so Tia Rain is not your given name, your birth name.
No, Tia
Okay,
Rayne is,
your
I use
pen.
it. It's part of my oldest daughter's name and my middle daughter's name. It is all contribution to my girls.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, this is it's interesting just how you evolved as a writer and that you self continue to self-publish. You didn't give up after you were with a publisher, and you didn't give up when you got rejected because all of the authors that I know, now I never uh, submitted a book for a book deal. Um, all of my books are self-published, and I haven't pursued. I never got a rejection letter because I never pursued it. And I don't know if I'm not good at rejection, although I'm not saying other people are, but I'm really not good at rejection. So if I know that rejection could be potentially uh, a possibility, like strongly, then that's not a road. And it's not just writing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to be rejected, I don't want to try it. It could be anything, and I know nothing is certain, I'm just not, I'm not good at rejection. So, but I just think it's amazing that the way you started off and you were able to build it. It's just admirable the way you were able to do it. And we talked to so many authors on this show who have similar stories, but nobody has the same story. That's the amazing part about doing this
Yeah.
show. We get to meet authors from all at all levels. Some just getting started. Some have 100 books, and everybody's story is different. But the passion for writing is what
Yeah.
is the common thread. And so that's really, really great what you're doing. So do you have what you're doing next? Like, do you have another series in mind that you're working on now?
Yes. So I have a paranormal series that I'm starting now. I'm kind of on break now. I usually take the holidays off because all my kids are home, and I usually take the holidays off. So in January I start feet hitting the ground straight forward, trying to get it done with my second book to my Dark Woods, my paranormal series. And funny thing is, I I hate writing series because it's a continuation. Like I don't like to be in one world too long, but I always end up writing series. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I have a paranormal series I'm working on next. Enzo is the second book in the Dark World Wood series.
Okay. Now, when you say you don't like being in the same world too long, that's, that's interesting because that's showing that you put yourself in the world
Mm,
that you're writing about. And you really do.
yes,
Like, I don't write a lot of fiction. I just have two novels. But when I was writing them, I had to put myself in the place, especially of the main character and, and the villain, because you have to,
you
uh,
do. Yeah.
have to know where it's going, and it has to make sense, or it at least has to uh, be intriguing enough to make the person keep reading.
Yes.
So I get it. I understand. Well, show your five covers again. I really like them. Show them one more time before we go, and then
Yeah.
also
Hawk.
tell people how they can connect with you on social media. So,
Yeah. Hawk
church series from Tia.
twins,
Okay, Hawk Twins, and then
Priest,
Beast. Okay,
and then Beast
Beast one
one,
and Beast.
one, and two.
Okay, and people can get your books, basically
You can
everywhere. The normal
You can
place.
find my books all on Amazon. I'm all Tiya Rayne on Amazon. You can follow me on all my social medias. I'm at Tiya Rayne on on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
Okay, all right. And so, well, thanks for being a guest on the show. We really
Thank
appreciate
you for having
meeting
me.
you and learning about your work. I'm gonna check out. I'm gonna start with Hawk, and
You
then
definitely want to start with Hawk.
okay, so and I keep going from there.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.